let me move on to the next question. Game 6 is tonight. It's on Sunday, I believe 9 o'clock. What do you guys' prediction?
I go Lakers. I said before the series started, I said Lakers in six. I genuinely thought the Heat were a better team than people expected. People were like, oh, sweep, Lakers in four, Lakers in five. I'm like, y'all clearly haven't seen Jimmy Butler hoop like he been hooping lately. So, um, Lakers in six. I think, especially after last game, I think LeBron's had enough. I think. Um, Granted, I'm not gonna say Danny Green gonna hit his shots. I'm not gonna say KCP gonna hit his shots. Granted, they probably combine for two threes. So, but
Hey,
I
yo.
think I mean I don't I believe AD's status is still questionable. I think he'll play though. But I mean when it's all said and done, I think LeBron will get a triple double. I don't know, probably was I'll go 25-point triple double. I think he'll carry the team. I think the bench is going to be huge here for the Lakers. And I think this is why they're in the position where they are now because sometimes their bench hasn't showed up. Like Kyle Kuzma will go for 19, which he'll do, but then other games you'll see him airball threes and then do dumb stuff on fast breaks, and we've seen that in this series as well. I think the bench plays decently well. I think Caruso always been everywhere. Will find ways to shine. Rondo coming off the bench, I think could have another 7, 8 assist night. Personally, I think the Lakers end it right here.
I'm glad you got more faith in that bench than I do. Shoot, the only people calling them up, telling them they're gonna have a good game tonight is all of their moms and maybe some family members. Because honestly, they have not been doing pretty good bench wise, besides spurts here and there. Like you said beforehand, we've seen games from Kyle Kuzma, Markieff Morris, 19 points apiece. But then on the flip side, follow that game up, they both only had 9 points apiece. Like that's that's more the consensus. Their bench has really not been productive this entire time. We just saw our first KCP sighting in what game two, probably. I mean, that's kind of rough, honestly. I mean, defensively, the team is still playing the way they're supposed to. I think the biggest thing with them is I feel like as the pressure continues to mount, that'll be the circumstance where this bench that is not that talented continues to shrink because if you think about this series in particular, this is the first time that they've lost two games in a series this entire time. They really had their worst basketball when we first started the bubble with the qualifying games. Besides that, the playoffs have been relatively smooth sailing all the way around for the Lakers on the back of LeBron James and AD, and the bench hasn't played well really the entire time. It's been an outburst from a player here and there. The main one has probably been Rondo, I would say, out of anybody that's been, I guess, relatively consistent. But like for the most part, the bench hasn't gave too much effort as it is. That's why Kyle Kuzma has a little bit of a poll going around on whether or not this man should get a ring or not. Danny Green might get his own by the end of tomorrow if the game six doesn't go the way the Lakers wanted to. Out of intestinal fortitude, I picked the Heat in seven on the bold tip. So I think that they have to win game six to be able to win it in seven. So I'm gonna go with the Heat. It's gonna be close again too, though. But late game execution is gonna be the tail of the tape moving forward. Whether the Lakers close it in six or even it's going into seven games. The way they close games moving forward is gonna be a difference between winning or losing. Because that blowout stuff, that winning by six, stuff like that, I don't see it being like that moving forward because it's going to the backsides are tight for the Heat because it's the first time they've actually faced elimination. I mean, obviously game five, but in terms of really facing elimination, this is the only time that they've been in there and they've played up to the opportunity. So I'm gonna take the Heat. It's gonna be like by like 2 points.
I said Heat, or I said Lakers in six at the beginning, so I'm gonna stay with that prediction. But I think one thing that's really interesting with the bench and with the bottom six that or bottom yeah, we'll say bottom six of the Lakers is the fact that like I was reading this on the Athletic the other day. The Lakers like bottom six, their last 5 or 6 players, they've been statistically outranking LeBron and AD when they're on the floor, which is really interesting to me. I think they're like plus 36 at the time of that article. They're plus 36 without LeBron and AD, albeit they had at least one of them on the floor with them while they were performing, but they were performing pretty well up until game 4 or 5, whatever it may have been. So I think the narrative that the bench hasn't been doing great might be a little wrong. But I will say this: Kyle Kuzma needs to step up. We need the ball Mamba to do something amazing tonight. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Caruso, but this guy's obviously been a really great contributor for them. He is always making plays happen. This dude, I mean, he got a little overzealous at one point in Game 5, trying to go to the rim, make a big play happen. But otherwise, I mean, the guy's been a really great contributor. I like watching him play sometimes, even though the hype around him is annoying. Like Bleacher Reporter's always sucking them off. It's just crazy. But we need to see
Yeah.
something happen with that. Um, man, I can't wait for Game 6 though, because this bubble has been amazing.